Minister of Digital Malaysia, Yang Berhormat Dato' Wilson Ugak Anakumbong, Deputy Minister of Digital Malaysia, Your Excellencies, ASEAN Ministers and Heads of Delegation, my fellow colleagues from the Civil Service, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Salam.
Integrity, enabling them to chart a course that brings sustainable growth, fortified security, and enduring, inclusive and resilient, bringing enduring benefit to every citizen, and positioning Malaysia as the leader on the global stage, instill of trust, responsibility and respect. O Allah Al-Hafiz, the Protector, shield our nation from harm. تفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل اللهم فينا ولا معنا وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه.
Thank you, Dr. Faizul, for the dua recitation. Yang Berhormat Gobind Singh Departments, Your Excellencies, State Secretaries and ESCO members, respected members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Strategic framework that will guide Malaysia's digital future. It is designed to formally introduce
Pillar number 1 is to enhance public sector transformation. This pillar modernizes government services through a mandatory cloud-first approach, ensuring all public sector agencies prioritize cloud computing solutions in their procurement decisions. This transformation improves efficiency, transparency, and responsiveness, directly contributing to IMK30's objective of enhancing public service delivery. For example, cloud-enabled disaster response systems can now provide real-time data integration across agencies, enabling faster coordination during floods and more efficient traffic management in our urban centers. Pillar number 2, that is to nurture private sector growth. By fostering innovation and competitiveness through sovereign cloud infrastructure and multi-tier certification frameworks for cloud service providers, this pillar aims to boost economic growth, attract investments, and help businesses, particularly MSMEs, to expand their operations and compete regionally and globally. This aligns with IMK30's goal of empowering SMEs and driving regional competitiveness through a robust cloud ecosystem. An example of how cloud-based inventory systems can help small businesses like local chili sauce producers to manage stocks efficiently and access new markets across Southeast Asia. Pillar number 3, secure data protection and privacy. This pillar strengthens data security frameworks through zero trust strategies and ensure compliance with data protection laws while asserting Malaysia's data sovereignty. All data generated within Malaysia remains subject to Malaysian laws, and critical data requiring physical residency within our borders. This pillar builds public trust in digital platforms and provides the secure foundation needed for digital services to thrive, thereby contributing to IMK30's objectives of economic resilience and inclusive growth. Pillar number 4, digital inclusivity. This pillar addresses the digital divide by expanding cloud infrastructure to underserved and rural areas, promoting digital literacy and ensuring affordable cloud solutions for essential services like healthcare and education. This ensures the benefits of digital transformation reach all Malaysians, from rural teachers in Sarawak, assessing quality educational content to remote centers in Sabah, leveraging smart booking systems, aligning with RMK13's emphasis on inclusive growth and equitable access to opportunities. Pillar number 5, environmental sustainability. This pillar provides resource-efficient and environmentally friendly cloud practices, including green data centers powered by renewable energy, sustainable infrastructure development, and comprehensive environmental standards for cloud operations. This directly supports RMK13's focus on sustainability and aligns with the national vision for a low-carbon, environmentally responsible future, enabling smart energy management and reduced carbon footprints across industries. Ladies and gentlemen, after the official launch of the NCCP, the focus shifts from policy creation to implementation. As a living document without fixed duration, the NCCP will continuously evolve to address emerging technologies and challenges. The next step is to develop a detailed action plan with clear, measurable deliverables and timelines, supported by robust governance structures and regulatory framework. The plan will use predictive measures and key performance indicators to proactively monitor progress and adapt to the evolving technological landscape, ensuring a data-driven approach. The government's vision, as outlined in the Malaysia Digital Economic Blueprint and the NCCP, and more recently the AI Nation Ambition of the 13 Malaysia Plan, or RMK13, is to build a modern, progressive Malaysia for the digital age that is innovative, sustainable, and inclusive. The Ministry of Digital is committed to a cloud-first approach for government services to enhance efficiency and create a trusted and secure digital environment for everyone. These policies are crucial for Malaysia's long-term economic sustainability and resilience. The goal is to establish Malaysia as a leading digital hub in the ASEAN region, where businesses, including SMEs and startups, can leverage cloud technology to innovate and compete regionally. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, this policy, our Ministry's very first, is the foundational pillar upon which we will build the future. It is with immense pride that I will highlight the NCCP's development journey, which was a true whole-of-nation effort. Our team developed this policy entirely in-house with zero external cost, demonstrating our commitment to building indigenous capabilities. This process involved comprehensive engagements with a diverse array of stakeholders across all sectors, including industry leaders, academia, legal advisors, and civil society representatives. Their invaluable input and collaboration result in a robust, well-informed policy that truly reflects our nation's collective aspirations for secure, sovereign, inclusive, and sustainable cloud futures. We extend our gratitude to everyone who contributed to this significant achievement. I would also like to extend a special acknowledgement and sincere gratitude to Futurize Senior Mahar for their invaluable collaboration in the development of this document. This partnership exemplifies the spirit of collaboration that extends beyond the Ministry's walls and embodies the whole-of-nation approach, essential for our digital transformation. It is an honor to be here today for a momentous milestone in Malaysia's digital journey, the official launch of the National Cloud Computing Policy. This policy represents our commitment to the Madani vision and our determination to build a digitally empowered Malaysia. It's not just a government directive. It is a strategic blueprint that will guide our nation through a secure, inclusive, sustainable cloud future, positioning Malaysia as a leader in the ASEAN digital economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Tuan Ferry Bigar, for your welcoming remark. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to invite Yang Berhormat Gobind, the Minister of Digital, to deliver his keynote address. Please welcome Yang Berhormat Minister of Digital.
Terima kasih ucapkan kepada Aziza. Datuk Wilson, juga anak Kumbung, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Digital, Tuan Fabian Bega, Secretary General, Ministry of Digital, members of the ASEAN delegations, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, salam perpaduan, salam Malaysia Madani, and a very good morning to all of you. Lebih dahulu, izinkan saya mengambil kesempatan untuk ucapkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan untuk semua kerana dapat hadir pada acara yang cukup bermakna, iaitu lancaran polisi baru kita pada pagi ini. Indeed an honor for me to be here before all of you for this momentous milestone in Malaysia's digital journey, which is the official launch of National Cloud Computing Policy. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world in which we are exposed to new technology almost every day. Each and every one of us here, while we move in the daily chores of our lives, we are exposed to what technology presents. As you drive in your cars, you listen to programs about technology. You listen to discussions about AI. You listen to discussions about how it is technology benefits all of us and how it will develop as we go along. There is this ambition by all countries to try as far as we possibly can to adopt this technology. And as I said in my address yesterday, the Malaysian government is now looking towards building an ecosystem that will sustain new technology. So imagine looking at diagrams which talk to you about how data becomes pivotal today. From 10 years ago, the amount of data that we used in technology as opposed to the volume of data today, looking at the technology today. And then there are also predictions as to where we think we will be in the next 5 to 10 years. And the kind of data that we will require to sustain this new technology which will become part and parcel of our lives. Technology will change from AI to Gen AI. Today we're talking about agentic AI. We can expect technology to change and change fast moving into the future. So for a country that aspires to be a leader in this field, we as government must think about how we can not just encourage awareness, but also encourage adoption. If we can encourage adoption, we can understand the fact that in future, if we have a whole country that is using technology, then the dynamics behind how it is we are able to provide the country with services becomes a priority discussion for us. What do? We have to move away from conversations and build an ecosystem that will support new technology. We have data centers, investments that have been made, and we see these data centers being built. In the last 18 months, announcements, confidence expressed by countries around the world as to Malaysia's digital ambition. We see many of the leaders in data centers choosing Malaysia as a destination. We see work beginning on the data centers in various parts in Malaysia. Then we start talking about ensuring that it is safe. We speak to you about data. We talk to you about its power. At the same time, we appreciate and accept that there is so much that needs to be done so that we can properly digitize the data that we have so that it can be used for digital solutions. So insofar as the Ministry of Digital is concerned, these are conversations that we have on a daily basis. How do you strategize the way forward? Building data centers is one part of it. Looking to digitize data that we have is another part of it. When you digitize the data, you need to look at how it can be stored efficiently. And when it is stored, you have to start looking at how it can actually be used in the sense that it can be shared so that solutions that depend on data can be developed. If there is this process of sharing, you want to make sure that data that is shared is safe. Elements of security, privacy dealt with. Now, if you're able to do that and understand that that is where you will see the power of real digital transformation, then you will also understand that there's a need for us to think about how we can move away from traditional ways of storing data, which was on-prem solutions, to what we have before us today, which is cloud. Now, this is something that is more than just a conversation. My ministry looks at it as an enabler. If you are able to put all of these blocks together, then we will see the country transform into a nation that is able to now invite all these people to partake in this journey of digital transformation. Now, this is the reason why I have said, and I repeat again, it is important for us to understand what the country needs in the next 5 to 10 years. Plan it now. Take the right steps so that whatever it is we design will become something that is not just sustainable, but one that benefits the country as a whole. Now imagine, speaking about smart cities, or now AI cities, as my ministry would term it. We want to look at a country in which we have autonomous vehicles. We want to look at a country in which you have surveillance systems that show you how cars travel on roads. If there's an incident that occurs along the way, you want to be able to, in real time, visualize what has happened. Post-incident, you want to be able to call on cameras in the vicinity to give you footage leading to that incident so that you're able to analyze very quickly who was at fault and what needs to be done next. Now, if you're able to visualize and you have the CCTVs that show you where the incident occurred, for example, in the event of an accident, you want to also have details and data of the emergency services in the area. So now you look to data about police stations in that radius, perhaps 100 meters around where the incident occurred. You also look for clinics in that area, hospitals which have ambulances in the event there was an incident which requires medical treatment urgently. If you're able to put all that data together, you find that you have built a system where things are much more efficient. You do things a lot faster. The moment there's an incident, using AI and the footage that you have, you're able to tell who is responsible for the incident, whether or not there's a need for the police to attend to the scene in order to get things done. And ultimately, if there's someone in need of medical help, then immediately the nearest clinic is identified, the nearest hospital is identified, ambulance services are deployed. If there's a person that needs urgent treatment, he is taken to the right hospital. if you can create a smart ambulance, the preliminary treatment is conducted in the ambulance while he is in his journey to the hospital, and when he reaches the hospital, the right doctors are on standby to treat him. If there's a need for an operation, the operation theatres are available, and that is where you see the true strength and impact of technology. It changes how we did things in the past. It raises us to a level in which we see things done a lot faster. And we see how it benefits us. That in respect of smart cities. The same system that you use to capture that data can be used to also analyze traffic, can be used to also look at areas that are accident prone, so that we can understand why it is those areas accident prone, take steps to fix the character of the roads in that area so that we can mitigate that. When it comes to floods, for example, you're able now to plan ahead. You look at how it is, you can build cities where you have sensors in place, so that where water levels rise, there is data to that effect. You are then alerted about the fact that in the event there is a heavy downfall, the potential of that particular area flooding is very real. So you send people to look at it beforehand. So it can be fixed before there is a flood. And of course, if you can do that, you save people the inconvenience of having to deal with floods as and when it occurs. That in respect of smart cities. The same cameras can be used for the purpose of security, for police monitoring the streets that we live on, ensuring that when there is an incident, then immediate action is taken. They can also identify areas where we see a rise or a raised level of criminal activity, so that the police can focus on those areas so that we live in circumstances that are safer. When it comes to cleanliness, the same system can be used to identify areas where you find people disposing rubbish. Once that is identified, the proper services are sent to immediately deal with it, so you don't have weeks of rubbish building up as a result of which it becomes a problem. Not just in the sense of being an eyesore, but also in a health sense. Now, this is just one example of what technology can do, but the reason why that is important is because you need to understand that for all of that to work, you must have access to technology such as cloud. Because this is the technology that allows you to bring that data together. There is easier access to data. Data sets that are ordinarily not available to people because they are secured on on-prem systems are now available. So, as far as the government is concerned, we start with looking at our ministries. How do we make sure that we create a policy so that government agencies, be they at federal, state, or even local governments, start digitizing this data and move to cloud? You want to do that because you know that you are developing data centers that are going to give you the compute power. You are building legislation in Parliament that is going to ensure that there is safety, the NCII, Cyber Security Act. You're looking at strengthening personal data protection, building data, sharing mechanisms, as I said yesterday, so on and so forth. So if you have that in place now, next in the equation is ensuring that the data is stored in a place or using mechanisms that allow you to optimize the use of data. This is why this policy is key. And I pushed the ministry. I must take this opportunity to thank Jabatan Digital Negara. Saya memang ucapkan terima kasih the hard work that they did and also Futurize that helped. It's a combination of effort, understanding that the vision of the Prime Minister is to build a digital Malaysia and build a digital Malaysia which is sustainable and ready for next generation technology. We look at this policy of towards Malaysia Digital 2030. Now, if I just explain to you I'll give you an example of smart cities. Let's look at GovTech. We want to build a country in which services or government digital services are made a lot more convenient for people, cheaper. You do not have to line up in queues for hours to get government services, to get your passports renewed, licenses renewed, permits applied for, and what have you not. Now, in order for us to get this done, again, we have to look at the building blocks. There's a need for us to think about how new technology can help. And after we think about this, there's a need for us to build on that structure. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will say this. The Prime Minister is very focused on ensuring that we not just follow in the footsteps of what needs to be done to become a digital nation, but we are also able to lead in certain areas. In his speech yesterday, he mentioned that. And he spoke about how it is we need to think about being a leader in digital transformation, particularly in the ASEAN context. If we look at countries around us, many are far ahead. Many have got challenges that they need to overcome in terms of connectivity and building infrastructure and so on and so forth. We must work together. And if we are able to work together, we learn from each other's experiences, and I think that's where the strength is. If you are now able to envision a world in which data exists, we pivot to cloud, and we are able to speak about sharing that data, not just here, locally, but regionally and even globally. You're going to be able to look at solutions that are built as a result of joint efforts of countries in the region and even globally. Things will move fast. We today live in a world where most of us rely on agents. We use ChatGPT. And as things go along, you look at virtual directors. You may even look at the concept of a virtual ministry in the near future. In order for that to happen, you can already imagine the amount of data and compute power that you require. If that be the case, you want to make sure that the data is stored in a manner that's easily optimizable. There's easy access to it. As I said, it is secure. And scale becomes key. If we are able to encourage every single Malaysian to transform themselves digitally, in the way they work, in the way they live, in the way they deal with government, you can imagine the spike in the demand for data, the spike in the demand for digital transformation as we go along. And I think that is why this event today is important. It is yet another event to show you that whilst we speak of digital transformation in this country, whilst our Prime Minister repeats how important it is to get things done, and we see that as recent as 2 weeks ago when he tabled the 13 Malaysia plan, we in the Ministry of Digital are making it real. We're ensuring that these conversations translate into action, and ultimately, from there, Malaysians are able to feel the true impact of digital transformation on their lives. So it is in that context, ladies and gentlemen, that I stand here today proud of Jabatan Digital Negara and of course Ministry of Digital. Don Fabian is here. We also have Siva in the crowd, and Shakib, my Deputy Secretary Generals, and my Deputy, Dr. Wilson, who has been pushing along with us to ensure that this transformation is done quickly. So we need to think about where we expect this country to be in the next 5 years, the next 10 years. RMK 13 is of course that new direction. The Prime Minister has envisioned an AI nation, and that can be done. We have the Smart City Expo in Kuala Lumpur next month on the 17th and the 18th. In that particular expo, there are two key areas we are looking at. One, developing a digital twin for the whole country. And for that purpose, we are leveraging on the strengths of all the states. I must thank my friend Roy Fahmi, Exco from Negeri Selangor, who is here. He has been very supportive, a lot of ideas as well as to how it is we can incorporate what it is all the states have so that we can move faster. Thank you, Fahmi. We have, of course, the Wakil daripada Negeri-Negeri lain as well. The second area that we're going to look at is how we can develop policies that ensure that we're able to create autonomous vehicle networks. Because moving to the future, you're going to see more reliance on drones, vehicles that are able to operate independently, autonomously, even decide for themselves what needs to be done. And for that purpose, again, it comes back to data. It comes back to a network, connectivity. And in all of this, cloud. So ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to thank the Ministry for the work done. I'm happy that I'm able to be here today to launch the NCCP. And of course, in doing so, I think Fabian has gone through the key aspects of it. Let us ensure that whilst Malaysia speaks about digital transformation, we are able to craft very carefully all of that which will make this happen. And in the next 2 years, moving towards the end of RMK 13, actually deliver on what it is we have to do to transform Malaysia into a digital nation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with that, let us move forward together with a whole of nation mindset, and that means building a digital future that is resilient, inclusive, and one that is globally competitive here in Malaysia. With the launch of this policy, again, I say, we strengthen our collective commitment to positioning Malaysia as a global leader in cloud technology. I urge every Malaysian government, industry, academia, civil society to embrace the opportunities cloud computing has to offer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Minister, for your insightful address. May we kindly request that you remain on stage as we invite other distinguished guests, Yang Berhormat Deputy Minister and Yang Berbahagia Secretary General of the Ministry of Digital to join for the official launch giving. Yang Berhormat Minister, Yang Berhormat Deputy Minister and Yang Berbahagia Secretary General is kindly invited to the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, let's join us as we launch the National Cloud Computing Policy. Yang Berhormat Minister is respectfully invited to place a palm on the podium with the count 1, 2, 3, go! Let us together sit back and enjoy the montage video for our National Cloud Computing Policy NCCP launching today. Ladies and gentlemen, following the official launch, we will now transit to our high-level forum session titled Beyond the Horizon, Charting Malaysia's Course as a Premier Cloud and Data Center Hub. This forum will bring together a panel of industry experts and thought leaders to explore the opportunities and challenges in the cloud and data center industry. We will also have a strategic discussion on the policy's impact and future industry outlook. It is my pleasure to introduce our moderator for this session, Mr. Kamlesh Kumar, Associate Director and Head of Malaysia Office at Asia Group Advisors. Joining him on the panel are Ms. Sue Ann Lim, Director of Government Affairs and Public Policy for Google Cloud Asia Pacific, Mr. Wing K. Lee, Chief Executive Officer of YTL Communications, and Ms. Adila Junid, Director of Legal and Government Affairs at Microsoft Malaysia. And now, please welcome all the panelists and moderator on the stage.